Okay, Blademan, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut lenses for your second pair of glasses that you have gotten from me, and then I'm going to do the third pair that you've gotten. Thanks for looking out for me. Alright, today we're going to work with the 4105 that are here in the case. It is the folding Wayfarers. This is the matte black color. I'm going to unfold them. Boom, boom. And this is model number 4105, color 601, the flat black, and 5022. Same as the Ray-Ban 5121 and the Ray-Ban 2140, which is what this is based on, the original Wayfarer. The ophthalmic version is the 5121, which you've already gotten from me. So I'm going to trace this shape. Trace your Italian frame in my Italian edger, the LE1000, Santinelli LE1000. It is now tracing the shape of your left lens. And now it's going to go over and trace the shape of your right. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy the frame, you get free single vision lenses. You can upgrade to transition, to anti-glare, to bifocal, all different types of options, polarized, whatever you need. Alright, I'm going to pull up the shape of your lens on the computer, put in the pupillary distance, pick the lens material, and let's go. I'm going to block your lenses 4 millimeters below center. This is a block that will go onto the lens while it cuts. I need to put a double-sided adhesive sticker on there from 3M. Put this one on there. Pull off this side. Look and find the optical center. Line up the bifocal segment height and plunge. Let's do the same thing with the left lens. And then we'll get cutting. We got a lot of ground to cover because I want to show you how your transition lenses darken. Okay, get this lined up. And we're good to go. Let's start cutting. And hit start. The first thing that's going to happen is the LMU is going to come down and trace the shape of your frame onto the lens just to make sure it's large enough to cut out. Which I know it is because I've done these measurements before I ordered the lens, but this is just a routine operation I cannot get around. It is tracing the concave side of your lens, which is closest to your eyelashes, and then once it's done, it will trace the convex side of the lens, which is away from the face. The actual cutting wheel, there are 3 wheels here. The one on the left, the lighter color, is what's going to grind away all the material. This one in the center is going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. This wheel on the right polishes, but we will not be polishing your lens. I will have to close the door here in one moment, but I just want you to see it strike the cutting wheel. It is now 7:26, Wednesday, March 5th, 44 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, according to my Samsung Gear watch, and it should take about 15 minutes to do everything we need to do. Now this is a really cool case that your folding Wayfarers will fit into. The only thing I wish they would do is put a belt loop on here so you can attach this to your belt. That would be really awesome. Maybe you can work on that. Maybe you can actually sew something in there. It might work. It might work. Who knows? Or if you take it to a leather shop, someone who works on belts or shoes, they could probably use a rivet or a brad and put a belt loop on there for you. Of course, your Ray-Ban cleaning cloth. And I do provide instructions on how to care for the case and the cloth, but I'll tell you now, whenever this gets dirty, which is about once a month, wash it at the kitchen sink with dish soap, Dove, or Palmolive, rinse it out, and just let it air dry on a dish towel or a paper towel to dry. They dry in just a few hours, but the older they get, the better they clean, and the softer they get. And they're good for anything from optical grade, from camera lenses, computer screens, TV screens, cell phones, tablets, laptops, microscopes, binoculars, all that stuff you got around the house. So it's done cutting out the shape, and now it's putting the bevel onto the lens. Same for the case. Whenever this gets dirty, though it's hard to tell, just take a very mild detergent, dish soap on a wet washcloth, wipe it off, and then it's ready to go. Tuck this back down inside there for now. So one other frame I wanted you to check out Now, after talking to this guy, he goes by the name Blademan, and I believe he goes by the Blade because he is a sharp dresser from our communications. But you like the old school look. This is the Ray-Ban 5283 in color 2034, which is the black crystal. This is the 49 eye size, which is larger. But this has what's known as the keyhole bridge, where other bridges are more like a saddle. This is a keyhole like a skeleton key would fit in there. This old school shape is called the P3. It was very popular in the 50s and 60s. It's also available in a striped brown if you really like some rich colors. That's one to check out if you like another vintage look from Ray-Ban. Alright, so mostly done. It's got a little bit of rough edges, so I'm going to use my hand stone. Wipe off any rough edges that are there, and then I'm going to try and mount this into the frame. Do I have a cloth over there? Let's just grab one while I'm here. Oh, my last paper towel. My last paper towel. I may have to use that one. Okay, to check to make sure it fits, I tuck the lens in at the outside corner and then push down at the nose. It's still got a little bit to go, so I'm going to take a little bit more off. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I would have been surprised if it had fit. So I'm going to take 1/10 of a millimeter off going all the way around the lens, and 1/10 of a millimeter is very small. On my PD stick, the space between my thumbs is 1 millimeter, so I'm taking 1/10 of that. You can always go smaller. You can never add back to a lens, so I always start with a little bit larger size and work my way down. Have a little taste of my Earl Grey tea. I need that extra little bit of caffeine at night, pulling these 15-hour days. I'm not complaining. I love what I do. This is not work. In fact, the hardest part of the day is quitting at 11 o'clock. I go from 8 to 11 every day, sometimes more than that, a little bit earlier and a little bit later. I try not to do it too often. I've been putting in some 85 and 90-hour weeks back to back to back to back. And one of these days I'm going to get tired, but not yet. Thanks to coffee and Earl Grey tea with bergamot oil, which you would say, bergamot? What on earth is that? But it's a little bit of orange flavor that makes the tea really good. Okay, let's see if this will fit now. I'm going to go and put the safety bevel back on it. Where is my cloth? Here we go. Let's dry this off again and see if it fits. I start at the outside corner and tuck it in at the nose. Almost there. I'm going to do a little bit more, another 1/10 of a millimeter. Got to make this thing fit perfect. The right lens always takes the longest. Once we get the size down, we'll be able to go ahead and cut the left lens with no problem. And then we'll cut your second set of lenses for the Ray-Ban 5121. We'll repeat the steps and do the same thing. I really appreciate you getting the 3 pair from me. My wife thanks you even more. She tells me she wants a new pair of shoes. Mama wants a new pair of shoes. And the Blademan's gonna buy them for her. And I get nothing. Nothing, I tell you, nothing. Oh well. At least, you know, it's 44 degrees. It's too cold to sleep in the car, so at least the wife will let me inside if I promise to buy a new pair of shoes this weekend. Now, she's very loving, very supporting. Before I undertook this project and explained that I'd be working 7 days a week, anywhere. Of course, I told her 10 to 12 hours a day. I never promised her 15 to 16 hours a day. She didn't bargain for that, but she's a good trooper. She understands this is how I'm chasing my American dream. We all have to dream. So it's just going around and around, and then it stops. Take it out of the chuck, dry it off again. You know what's going to happen. We got the safety bevel. The safety bevel. This makes it easier in the future that if you ever want to pop your lenses out and change the prescription in here, you can pop them in and out with never worrying about damaging the lens. So again, I start at the outside corner, tuck it in at the nose, and there we go. It snaps right in. Just make sure to dry all that off. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and cut the left lens. Flip that over and hit start. Pretty much the same steps you saw before. It's going to come down and trace the shape of your frame onto the lens. But when I ordered this lens for you, I gave the proper specification. There's no way this is not going to cut out. No way. I am a licensed optician. I can cut any prescription for any frame. I see problems coming in advance and I don't let them happen. Everyone gets their glasses on their first try. I got nothing to hide. That's why I film everything. That's why I dry the lens off when it comes out. If I drop it on the floor on my rubber padded mat here, but okay, since that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna take this block off because it's not needed anymore. Dry that off too, put it back because I'm gonna use it again in just a few minutes. Pull off that sticker. And out of habit, I have a little liner, this grid that tells me that the bifocal height is straight when I line it up, and it is. Of course, I'm going to read the prescription. We have +1/4 at your request in here. +1/4 with a 175 bifocal in the bottom. There we go. Using my Marco 101 lensometer, I get the final reading of +2, which is +1/4 plus 175 gives me a total power of +2. Pretty sharp frame. Ray-Ban was pretty smart. Now this, again, is a version of the original Wayfarer. I am wearing what's known as the new Wayfarer. This is 2132 size 52, a little bit smaller than this one. It does come in a larger, but I wear it in the smaller size. The larger size is bolder. This is color 6012, which is the tortoise beige. I'm married to this frame. I love it, although, man, I gotta tell you, this is very tempting. I have a pair of just beat around glasses I use in the lab. They're called Big Plus. They're very, very strong magnifiers. But when I want to inspect everything on the frame, from the hinges to the screws. If I got a black screw in a black frame, I have to be able to see it. But I'm really, really tempted to put my very strong magnifiers into this frame and start wearing this around the lab. And if I like it, maybe I'll wear it outside on the streets. All right, the left is done. Take this off. Take this out. Dry it off. Put a little handstone work here. Clean off any of that residue. And then I'm going to attempt to mount the left lens. Tuck it in at the outside corner closest to me, and then using my thumbs, push down at the nose. And it snaps right in perfectly. So, oops, see, normally I would pull on that, but it folds right up. So let me brace that a little bit more. Pull that sticker off, dry this off, dry that off. Throw it in the bin, get ready to use it again. Use my grid to make sure that both lenses are lined up perfectly, and they are. I just want to inspect this lens, make sure the top reads +1/4 sphere. That it does. Read the bifocal power and of 175, and that should give me a combined power of +2. So I am going to clean your lenses off. I'm going to make sure it's in standard alignment, meaning when I put it on the table, everything lines up perfect and the hinges close perfectly. They do. I want to get my markings off this frame. A little sip while I'm here. Eat and drink while you can. That's why I've learned. Don't wait for lunch to happen, because it never will. That's right. I work 15-hour days with no breaks. At 11 o'clock, I stop and cook dinner. That is my first meal of the day. I do not eat breakfast or lunch. I find that it slows me down. Everyone finds that hard to believe, but I have lots more energy if I don't eat. Okay, so now I'm going to put your lenses into my transitions box that has a very strong ultraviolet light that's going to cause your lenses to darken. Now, forgive me for repeating myself if you've heard this before, but I can't say it enough. Transition lenses will darken in 30 to 45 seconds when exposed to the sun. It takes a little bit longer to lighten when you go back inside, about 45 seconds to a minute 15. All transition lenses will darken on day 1, as you're about to see. Give them 2 weeks, and they will continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks till they get to their final setting. After that, they will work at maximum performance for years. The only problem you will have is they do not work 100% in your vehicle. In the mid-90s, they started adding UV protection to the windshield so your upholstery wouldn't rot or your dashboard doesn't crack from sitting in the sun. That's why they won't darken in a car. They actually do not darken as well in the 90s, and especially upper 90s. It's extremely hot. You're hot. Everything is miserable. Your glasses are miserable. They will, as soon as it cools off, they will get darker. So there you can see, these are your transition lenses that have been activated with both UVA and UVB protection. I'm going to fold these back up, put them into your case, and now I'm going to get started cutting your second pair of prescription lenses into the Ray-Ban 5121 in the shiny black. Thanks a lot. I hope this has been fun for you, watching your glasses being made. If you have any questions, anyone out there, email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Blademan, thank you again for letting me chase my American dream, and this is how I bring that loving feeling back to glasses. Thank you.